mayonnaise. I'm sure that's a bigger word I know.
Hello, everyone, and welcome on into the Blitz NFL Player Props with none other than Derek Carty of EV Analytics. I'm Thomas Viola, and thank you so much for being here. As always, ladies and gentlemen, the chat already popping off here. Sports Videos is here. Damani's here. Yahtzee's here. What's the motto? Blue, Balin, all joining in on the chat. And, of course, you guys know as we roll along the show here, we have plenty of props that we want to highlight, but we are also going to be fielding your questions, comments, concerns, and going through and checking out whatever we can find on the slate for you on another fantastic week here. Derek, happy to say, already off to a good start, at least for me. I went 3-1 last night on the Thursday night football game, a rare good Thursday night football game. People under the age of 20 might not realize that we used to somehow have Jaguars Texans 16 nights a year, like 16 weeks a season on Thursday night. At least now they throw in a couple good matchups. Thursday was the primetime game.
Right.
That everybody was like, it's like letting the kids play. Like we're gonna go out there and pretend that this is prime time and people care about this game.
It's been a nice run lately.
Yeah.
Started off a little slow to the year. We've talked about it. Last couple of weeks, last week in particular, I did fantastic. Hopefully you guys did too. Show plays have been awesome so far this year. I think we're at like a 15 or 16% ROI, and we have quite a few showing some good value here today.
Yeah, let's talk about it real quick. Last week, we went 4-2 on the show, which was a very good week for us. Kareem Hunt, we lost that one. Joe Flacco, we lost that. But then the rest, Tony Pollard didn't even come close to 15.5 rush attempts. Jonathan Taylor, I don't think caught a pass, or he caught one. Jalen Hyatt, we were sweating it for a little bit.
That was a sweat until the last drive, and then he caught 3 more.
Yeah. And then Alvin Kamara, that one was pretty easy. We got there, and it was a 4-2 week for 2.74 units, 9.46 on the season so far. Like you said, 32-24 on the season here. I had a break-even week. Which was really funny because, you spend all this time grinding out these results, grinding out these edges, spending all week, like just being careful with it. NBA was great on Friday. College football was bad on Saturday. Sunday was break even. And then Sunday night, I hit that Lions game at halftime at plus 630. And that's why I had a profitable week. Sports betting is dumb sometimes.
Yeah, but you got to love the big hits when they come.
That was, I know I was already telling you this off stream, but I got the handicap completely wrong. I looked at it at halftime and said, Jared Goff's not throwing 3 more picks in this game. He's already got 3 here, and they're still in it. Turns out the Texans were just like, well, we don't want to win this game. So here you go. And we got there in the end. I will gladly take the wins where we can get them. And we're going to be looking for some good ones this week here. How about we jump into it here, Derek?
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely. So where are we headed to first in the market right now?
We are looking at Jahmyr Gibbs under 15.5 rushing attempts, minus 125 at 365 is going to be our best line. You can see pretty wide discrepancy in the market. FanDuel's on the other end at 13.5.
Mm-hmm.
The Blitz is projecting 12.8, so almost 3 full carries under the line here. I know people talk about the Jacksonville defense being terrible and exploitable, but when it comes to attempts, we don't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit is huge favorites here. What are they, like 2 touchdown favorites or close to it? So they should be running a good amount, but this does kind of set up more as a Montgomery game than a Gibbs game where they're just going to kind of pound the rock a little bit more, grind some clock out. He tends to get more work in these games where they're up big. And if they really do go up by like 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns, there's a decent chance in the fourth quarter we're not seeing Montgomery or Gibbs. We're seeing Craig Reynolds or Simone Vacchi or whatever his name is. So I like the under here. It's showing great value.
Yeah, and this is one of those things, like I see it every week when I'm making my Arizona pilgrimage. The edges on both rushing attempt unders for Lions running backs, but it makes sense because it's great. They have 2 great running backs that they split the usage of, but then their lines are both kind of like the usage of one primary back.
Yeah.
And it has been very, very fortuitous for us where they have that option to be like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And the other thing is Jahmyr Gibbs plays a little more of the passing role, like
Right.
check down passes that are basically handoffs. But the great thing for us is they don't count that way.
No, and the game doesn't even set up that way anyway. They shouldn't be dropping back to pass that much to begin with, which hopefully should mean Montgomery on the field a little bit more than Gibbs.
Yeah. And not to mention the fact that they're going up against Mac Jones this week.
Yes.
That is what we would describe as suboptimal when it comes to this when it comes to the Jaguars and their expectations for this game.
Absolutely.
All right. Next up on the slate here, we are going to be headed to one that worked out very well for us last week. I mean, we've been burned on his receiving yards lately. That's what I was thinking of. We've been burned on his receiving yards, but they're not running the ball that much in Miami with A-Chain.
No. So we hit this last week. It was 12.5. It's jumped two full carries up to 14.5. I'm running it right back. You can see the Blitz is projecting 11. Minus 121 is going to be our best number here. I think this jumped up because of what they did with Mostert last week, where he didn't get a single carry. But I don't want to overreact to 1 week. Jumping up 2 full carries of the line seems like an overreaction to that, especially when they came out and they said, okay, it's just the way the game plan worked out in this one. We still like Mostert. He's still going to be out there. They had said before last week that they were going to work Jalen Wright in a little bit more, and they did. He got about 20% or so of the carries. So if he kind of stays with a role like that, Mostert picks up a few carries. I'm just not buying H-Chan as the 50 to 60%, bell cow kind of guy here because of 1 week. And 14.5 is a big number unless he's that guy. So I like the under here. I'm going back to it. Nothing against him in general, but this seems like too big of an overreaction from the market.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the Raiders' rush defense isn't very good. Their pass defense hasn't been great the past several weeks either.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is also a team in the Raiders that has been they've been chewing up some clock, and they've been a slower paced team as of late. Am I incorrect in that?
No, I think this projects as one of the slower paced games of the week.
Yeah.
Both Miami especially plays slow, but Vegas plays slow too. So probably not a ton of play volume in this one in general. It's one where Miami should have the lead. We'll probably be running more. You kind of hope that they're spreading those carries around. If they're up by a touchdown or two, maybe you don't need to risk your better running back and you give Jalen Wright some work or something like that. So there's a number of ways this gets there.
Exactly. And Jalen Wright has been running the football a good bit more for this team as of the last couple of weeks here.
Right. Which is what they said they wanted to do. So I'm buying that as his role now.
Yeah. And I am more than happy to. And again, same thing with we're repeating ourselves here, but it's a little bit of the same angle as Jahmyr Gibbs. A-Chain gets the passing work and he gets these dump offs that are really handoffs, but they're not going to go that way on the stat sheet. And same exact thing that we're looking at here in this one. Hopefully we see a big Jalen Wright game because let's face it, it's not like the Raiders are moving the ball. If you get a 2-score lead here, you can start milking some clock pretty quick.
Yeah. All right. So we are moving on to this one. Opened like 2 minutes before the show. Maybe I need to refresh to actually have the simulator pick it up because it's a brand new market. Hopefully it hasn't moved since the open.
Yeah, but this is one that's really a little bit surprising to me because of the news. We're headed to the Colts receiving core, and boy, is it risky having Colts receivers and betting on good things to happen when they're being thrown to by Anthony 2 completions per game Richardson.
It's really scary. It's really scary. Like the Blitz has liked Richardson overs this year, and it has not happened because it's like, he can't possibly be this bad. He can't possibly be this bad. And he's always this bad. His completions line this week is set at 13.5, which is just insane.
Are you betting the over? Because I'm not.
I can't bring myself to do it, but I will take this one. It's Michael Pittman over 2.5 at plus money. I mean, it's just too low. It's just too low.
And I feel like you're getting a little bit of that plus money because the Jets defense against the pass is still, they've still got that reputation last week, notwithstanding, by the way. I hope you listened to me when I said we were going to lose by 20 in that game because we were as trash as I expected us to be. But I feel like this is a team, and apparently this line is now off the board at FanDuel. So
well, there you go. It shouldn't have been up in the first place, I don't think. But it was there. And I mean, Pittman's a guy earlier in the year, even with Richardson, I think he had, his lines were 4.5, 5.5 lines. I know he's been dealing with injury. I know Richardson is terrible. I know this is on the road, but 2.5 at plus money is too low for what is a really good wide receiver.
Yeah. And as Yahtzee points out, like this Jets defense since Saleh got fired, their player comparison is General Booty. That's what this team has been since that firing. The defense is not playing well in either facet of the game. So I'm not as worried, but Pittman's also been a non-factor so far this year. Yeah. We'll have to see what it reopens at when they put it back up.
Yeah, I'll be curious. I mean, it looks like it looks like Rivers is the only other book that has it, which is surprising that they're out on an island by themselves. But even they have it 3.5. It's we're not going to see any more 2.5s out there for him, I don't think.
Jim Robinson saying the Richardson futility parlay at MGM under 13.5 completions, over 27.5 attempts pays 18-1. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either.
That's an Anthony Richardson stat line, like right there. They need to embrace the Tim Tebow playbook. They need to just break out the Josh McDaniels, Tim Tebow, and just say, you know what? He's going to throw for 2 completions in the game, but we're going to run it a whole bunch, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how he looks, how this offense looks this week. They did say, okay, they benched him a couple weeks ago. They didn't like that he wasn't giving full effort, in study sessions and practices and whatever. They're saying he looks like he's on track now. I mean, you'd like to think, hopefully, that he's had 2 weeks. He's worked on some stuff. He's going to come back and he's going to look halfway passable as an NFL quarterback. I mean, just natural regression should take him high enough for us to get this. But it's going to be really interesting to see.
And hey, this is just good coaching, good, smart coaching by the Colts. These 2 weeks that he spent watching Joe Flacco absolutely blow, that's what's going to make you as a quarterback. You definitely need to sit and watch those 2 games for your rookie development. All right, the chat is blowing up, and they're going to tar and feather us if we don't switch to the receiving yards market for him.
All right, so yeah, you got some value here on the receiving yards if that's still up. And again, you can see
if that's still up, hit that.
Rivers is the only other book with a line, and they're at 39.5. I'll take the over 24.5 too.
Yeah, there's no way Boyd has this market up. Boyd, for those that don't know, Las Vegas's version of FanDuel, because we can't have nice things here. But there's no way this is still up here. But I'm very, very curious just to see for funsies.
Oh, wow. And now Rivers just jumped down. Okay. Whatever.
And
I just put a lot of signal in what they do anyway, but that's interesting. Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, still, this looks good.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, you've got my blended projections on.
I do. Good call. I don't know. Oh, whenever I refresh the page, it always goes to blended by default. Yeah. Same thing though.
Yeah. I'm sure your blend is just the Blitz anyway, so we should be good. But yeah,
I think I might have some market in there. I don't remember. I usually just use the Blitz.
Yep, I took that yards on FanDuel. A bunch of other people are as well. Chad Martin wants to know real quick before we head back to our props. He just wants to know Alec Pierce under 28.5 yards.
Yeah, I know that one's showing some value. It's a little scary because it's like such a boom or bust play.
Yeah.
It's showing value. He's going to get some deep shots. Richardson will take the deep shots. If he completes one of them, you could lose this on one catch. But Richardson is theoretically bad, and Alec Pierce is theoretically not very good. I've been kind of wobbling on whether I like this one enough or not, but you could certainly bet it. It shows value.
Yeah, it's not something that we're going to play, but if you want to take it, we're not telling you not to.
Yeah.
All right. Next up on the list here, The magical disappearing tight end who has had the resurgence and is now probably like tight end 1 on the season is Mark Andrews. And it has been very nice that at least he has gotten back into the good races of the Baltimore Ravens. Because let me tell you, Lamar's having an amazing season.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Mr. Andrews, Isaiah Likely's back this week. And Andrews has looked great the last couple of weeks with Likely out, and that's not going to be the case. So kind of banking on this going back to, both of these guys getting work, Andrews being out there, but not a ton, in which case 39.5 looks a little bit too high. -112, our best line here.
And he gets a lot of red zone work.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, red zone catch is not going to be that many yards anyway.
Exactly.
This projects, I think, too, as a. Oh no, I'm wrong. Never mind about that. But still, good play here. I like this one.
Yeah, Andrew Rivers saying, "Are the Colts ass?" Chat. Yes, they are. The Colts are booty. But the thing is, and that Mina Kimes take that. I love Mina Kimes. Huge fan. Quarterback play is the best it's ever been. I'm sorry. I forget. I forget who it was that was tweeting that said like, "Why is the NFL product so bad this year?" Like, and people were like, "Oh no, it's actually really good." 10 teams have like 2 or 3 wins. The product is not good. We have a problem.
I don't know. Well, I'm not going to comment one way or the other. I just enjoy it, whatever we get.
Oh, I enjoy it too, and I don't care. I'm still going to watch it all. But like, we have a real problem when it's not only that, but also one of the worst teams that I can envision right now is the team that's undefeated and currently in first place in the league, because the Chiefs are just on a quest to be as bad as possible without losing a game.
It has been pretty crazy what they're doing.
It's truly incredible. Kurt, David, I see you guys in the chat there. We're going to get through a couple more props here, but we will absolutely be covering Brian Thomas and Josh Allen for you as well. But right now, let's talk about one that I really like here, Tyler Conklin. Not very involved because the Jets don't involve the tight ends that much. I legit, the last good tight end this team has had was Dustin Keller.
This line moved quite a bit. We had plus 121, I think, and there were some plus 120s. It's moved 20 points. If that's our best line here, I don't like that. We'll pull it off. Doesn't quite meet my threshold. That's annoying. This one was just released in like the last hour or so too, so it probably moved quickly. Let me just double check. There's nowhere that has a better number than that. This has moved very quickly.
Yeah.
That sucks. Okay. Well,
I like that a lot better at plus money. Damon asking, what's your threshold? Boglor says Tyler Conklin just had a massive error on FanDuel that another EV bet scan. Oh, that's what happened. So some bet scanning service found like Tyler Conklin basically got hit because some EV bots were like, oh, there's a big edge here. So that's probably what killed that one. Damon saying, what's your threshold? I feel like it varies per prop, but I feel like we're looking for 20% and up.
Yeah. In a market like this, 20% I'm usually good with.
And Derek is just curious, how about we hit that pencil and just be able to show people the yards projections as well here, but we'll take this one off of the screen for us. And Connor Frazier saying the Chiefs are number 1 in offensive success rate. I believe that, but the quarterback also leads the league in interceptions, and they're just like, you're watching them and you're like, they just keep pulling it out every single week. They're on a quest to make it as bad as possible and still win the game.
They're making it happen somehow.
Yeah. It's like, I'm convinced that their entire goal as a team is to see how bad of a receiving core can we give Patrick Mahomes and still win a Super Bowl. And it looked like last year was going to be the year where we finally found the answer. And it's like, nope, we could still go worse. Bring back Juju.
All right. So moving on from Conklin, we're going to talk about somebody that I think someone in chat brought up, but maybe not the direction you were expecting. We have to pop over to EV Analytics for this one. We're looking at Mac Jones. We're looking at his pass attempts. And
we're looking at
we're looking at the under. So under 33.5, -105 at MGM, DK, ESPN, Hard Rock, super widely available. You can see the Blitz here is projecting, like 29.5, like 4 under the line. You would think, I mean, the Blitz likes its bad backup quarterbacks, and this certainly sets up as a spot where like they're going to be trailing Detroit and they're in a dome and like they should be passing. Tank Bigsby could be out. What this really comes down to is that I think there's a real chance Mac Jones doesn't finish this game. They said earlier, oh, that's mean.
Oh, McCorkle.
I mean, of course, injury is a possibility, but also they said earlier in the week, like if Mac Jones isn't looking good, they might just put in CJ Beathard, I think is the other backup here. And I mean, they're 2 touchdown underdogs to Detroit. There's a good chance they're going to be going down early. And if that happens, Mac Jones might not be in the game long enough to pick up these garbage time attempts and that kind of stuff. So I'm on the under here just purely based on that angle.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a shocking revelation for us on this show and how much we love our bad backup quarterbacks, but it makes perfect sense. How does Doug Peterson still have a job?
It's a good question. I don't think it's going to be much longer.
Like I thought it was going to be after the first London game and they were just going to leave him there.
Yeah.
Just absolutely wild from Jacksonville here, but man, it's hard to believe that just a couple years ago they were in the AFC Championship game with Blake Bortles at quarterback.
Oh, Blake Bortles.
Great show. If you haven't seen The Good Place, go watch it. Only 4 seasons. They knew when to quit instead of going too long. I respect that about a TV show. Jack Connor says Pittman back up at Caesars. I'm not sure what his line is.
Did they say what the line is? Tell us what the line is, Jack.
Yeah, I guess we got to go back to Caesars, but I don't know if Caesars' feed is back up completely on our screen yet.
You can take a look real quick and see. Oh yeah. Oh my God. They're offering an even better line. All right. Oh my God. What the heck is happening? 365 and 125. We hit this too early.
Oh my word.
I don't understand. All right.
Man. I don't have access to Bet365 until tonight, and part of me doesn't want to wait to hit it.
Well, if you didn't get it on FanDuel before they pulled it off before, you've got options now to hit it at other places at an even better number.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't imagine it's going to close here.
Yeah, I'm hitting.
We didn't get news that like Pittman, like he's good to go, right? Like hold on, let me see. Pittman. Yeah, they said he's going to play. He's, we know he's dealing with the injury, but 2.5 at big plus money that's just dumb. I like that.
Yeah, I'm hitting it now. I'm accepting it.
People saying Caesars are moving -106 now. Yeah.
Yep, William Hill has it down to -111. All right, I gotta wait and hope Bet365 leaves that up.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, it's there at a few books now, and you're certainly getting. I mean, even if -102, -106, like you're still looking at value here. All right, cool. So that's that.
Mm-hmm. Tate real quick wants to know under 34.5 at -133 or under 33.5 at -107 for Mac Jones on passing attempts.
Under 34.5 -130. I would think the under 33.5.
Yeah. And Jim was asking, when you're playing for a quarterback not to finish the game like this, do you parlay as many stats together since it's correlated to being pulled? I mean,
you definitely can.
Yeah. Your account might not last much longer though.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure the books are not super happy about that, but go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely absurd numbers on this Michael Pittman play too. Danny Diaz saying, when will we be able to see Hard Rock on Unabated? Soon. I know I've been saying this forever. It's coming real soon, like before the end of the football season for sure. It's been a saga. There's been a whole bunch of stuff, but we are absolutely getting there. Evan Pelfrey joining us from Internet Explorer here saying it is cardio clock. It's been cardio clock for 25 minutes here. Oh, yeah. But speaking, he's glad he's late and got that better Pittman number. Yeah. I don't
I'm
understand what's going on there.
shocked that other books opened it there. Like, I just can't even believe it.
Mm-hmm. Nick Chubb next up on our list.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not skipping around. Yeah.
This
We got a couple
one.
more.
Yep. This one's a little scary just because we have to pay minus 155 for it, but you can see we're still getting good value.
Yeah.
I actually want to see how do I see the percent chance of winning?
Click the plus. Oh no, you already had it. Yeah. Oh,
It's the edge. I don't know where it is, but I probably have a number of my own here. Let me look real quick.
if you switch to odds real quick, you can change it there and change to probability. Like if you just go to NFL, go to NFL odds. Like you just got to leave the prop screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's all right. I got this projected as 75% chance of hitting. Nick Chubb is not a pass catching running back by any stretch. With Jerome Ford back last week, he had been out on the field for I think 30 or 35% of routes, and it was down to 17% last week. Ford was out there for 53% of them. Pierre Strong was still mixing in on some passing routes, 15% for him. 2 catches for Nick Chubb is a lot to ask for.
Yeah.
I do love this game environment. This projects as the fastest paced game of the week. It's indoors. They should be passing a lot. But Jameis Winston isn't exactly a check down kind of guy. And Nick Chubb shouldn't exactly be on the field a ton for, as a passing option. So I like the under here. It's going to suck. It's going to hurt if you lose paying this, but it's all about value relative to price. And even at that price, there's still good value.
Exactly. Chad Martin saying Pittman 4+ receptions, +225, +430 on FanDuel. I don't like either of those merely because you have to bet on Anthony Richardson to complete 5 passes. Hard pass.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible, but the main draw for the Pittman one for me is just that the line is low. Richardson can play poorly and we can still win this.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. This isn't one that I'm trying to ladder because I think he's going to go off in this game. This is one where we're going to be white knuckling, holding our breath the entire time, praying that he completes the passes. All right. We have one more up here. I actually hit Gardner Minshew under completions earlier in the week here, but we are going to be looking in a different market. We're going to be going to carries.
Yeah, I'm a little heavy on Minshew this week because I hit him earlier this week under pass attempts and under passing touchdowns. But this isn't super correlated here. We're looking at under carries, under 1.5 +130 at 365 is our best line. He's a guy who they don't call design runs for him. He doesn't scramble that much.
Yeah.
And he's another one where there's a good, they're up until they announced that he was going to be the starter, the heavier speculation seemed to be on Desmond Ridder starting this game and Minshew not. So he's another one kind of like Mac Jones where there's a good chance he doesn't finish this game.
There's a really good chance. That's who they're going to be bringing in.
So that's really what we're hoping with the Minshew stuff here. Even if he plays the whole game though, under 1.5 carries at +130, he could still hit that because there's not going to be much kneel down equity in a losing game against Miami. And he doesn't get a lot of carries anyway. So this number just seems way off to me, especially considering the benching risk.
Yeah. Nitish saying, what about QB kneel out that could affect the rushing attempts? But I don't think that we're going to be getting those.
There could be one at the end of the first half. That's, I feel like the biggest sweat for this.
Yeah.
The chances of Vegas winning this game are fairly low. So Minshew's kneel down projection is pretty low. So that's really where a lot of this value comes from.
I still love that Raiders worst record bet. The Ravens game hurt us, but they have not done jack since then. And I'm very comfortable with that. But Derek, that is going to bring us to the conclusion of the props that we have, I believe, correct?
I believe so. I think people are saying there's a better number for that. It just, oh yeah, plus 130 at ESPN and MG. Oh, plus 135 at 365. If that's our number, then we'd have to look. Either way, we'll just keep it at the plus 130. But yeah, that's the end of our scheduled programming. But I know we have a bunch of questions in chat.
Absolutely. We have so many questions to get to, but just to recap here real quick while we go back to the unabated screen, Jahmyr Gibbs under 15.5 rush attempts at minus 125 on the 365. Davon A. Chain, the name that I will still pronounce differently every time I say it, under 14.5 rush attempts at minus 120 at the 365. Michael Pittman over 24.5 receiving yards. Are we changing that officially or not?
No. So we took the receptions on that.
Yeah.
But we'll take the original FanDuel price. Was it plus over 2.5 plus 108, I think.
Mm-hmm. So you've got a better number on the receptions depending on how you've hit it, but we're going to go Michael Pittman receptions 2.5 plus 108 at FanDuel there. So we'll addendum that. Mark Andrews under 39.5 receiving yards, minus 110 at Bet365. Mac Jones, McCorkle under 33.5 pass attempts, minus 101 at Penny. Nick Chubb under 1.5 receptions, minus 154 at Pinnacle. Gardner Minshew under 1.5 rush attempts, plus 130 at Bet365. And real quick, I gotta mute my Discord because the unabated Discord is currently talking all about the Jake Paul fight. And oh my God, I am so done hearing people talk about betting this fight. Like, you're handicapping whether or not people are trying in a fight. I have no interest in betting that. Like,
yeah, that's not for me.
Yeah, absolute hard pass. It's not the McGregor Mayweather fight. There probably never will be an event like that again. All right. Let's get James Russ saying Mike Tyson money line is free. And everyone in the chat now is asking about Tyson Paul. I'm just, that's my handicap is, do you believe they're trying? And do you believe that a 58-year-old man can beat a 25-year-old man in a boxing match? And there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We've got some questions to talk about here. Let's go. By the way, Derek, you're still on the Blitz page. If you want to stick to that page, actually, the first one, Josh Allen over 7.5 rush attempts.
Under is going to be the play here. I hit this one earlier in the week. You can see, looks like our best line's minus 105 right now, but any of them look good. Blitz is projecting under 6, and it's 7.5. So this game projects as the slowest pace game of the week. It's going to be a close game, so maybe not as much kneel down equity for Allen as he would have in a normal Buffalo game facing a team like the Chiefs. And his design runs just have kind of disappeared this year. He'll get some in the red zone still, but outside the red zone, he's only been called design runs on like 6% of the plays. And so this one is showing some good undervalue.
How about Brian Thomas under 4.5 receptions? We know he's a little bit banged up.
Let's take a look. A little bit of value.
Yeah, Bet Rivers. Watch out depending on where you're betting that because I'm not seeing value elsewhere.
Yeah. At that number, it's okay. Once you start getting these minus 105s and stuff, I wouldn't bet that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Patrick Fain. Patrick. All right. I said Patrick. He's going first. Kayshon Boutte overs. I know I already bet his unders this week, so I'm going to guess that we're on the under.
Yeah, I know the Blitz likes the under on him. I haven't bet him myself yet. If I was going to, it would have been earlier in the week when it was, I don't know, plus 120 or something. So it has been moving down, if I remember correctly. He's gotten a bunch of targets, like last week especially. I think he had like a 25% target share. He's been out there running routes on like 100% of the snaps, basically.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is he's Kayshon Boutte. The Blitz doesn't think he's that good. It doesn't think the Patriots offense is that good. The narrative is kind of the only thing that supports the over here, just that like it's Drake May and they're exciting now and they're passing more and Boutte looks good and he's out there. And for me, it's not enough. It wasn't enough for me to hit the under either. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't take the over.
Yeah, I got it at like plus 105.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with it for what I got. Tate asks, how much are we liking Love under 8.5 rushing and Juwan Johnson over 23.5 receiving? I know I bet the Juwan Johnson number already.
I bet some car stuff, so I don't think I took Juwan Johnson, but
I bet
know
both.
the Blitz. I know you certainly can do both. I know the Blitz liked it.
We got burned on Carr last week, but like, who's he throwing to? They got to throw to somebody.
Yeah.
And Captain Checkdown loves his tight ends.
Yeah. So Juwan Johnson's been a big part of this offense since all the receivers went down. I mentioned earlier, this game projects as a super fast-paced one, back and forth, lots of plays run. 20.5 for Johnson's a really low line. Even these 23s, 24s are fine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't want to go too heavy on the terrible Saints offense. So I just stopped with my car stuff. But if you want to take Johnson too, go right ahead. He projects, I think, is the best receiving value on that team.
Yeah. Angle and Edge wants to talk about Joe Burrow under 274.
You can take a look at that. I don't think there was a ton of value on Burrow.
Yeah. But I mean,
look at the spread.
Yeah. What is going on?
That's a good question.
That's almost worth just trying to play the middle.
That's a big gap.
Yeah.
But you can see the projection really doesn't think either side has a lot of value. Certainly not that under. It's going to be a slow-paced game. That's what it is. Not a lot of value here.
Yeah. How about Kyron Williams rush attempts? We got there last week. They did not rush the ball that much.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've actually seen this one popping up much this week.
Yeah, I stayed at what?
No. Set at 20.5. They are facing New England. They are going to be probably playing from ahead and running the ball a decent bit.
And they don't run their backup running backs.
No, they don't. Kyron gets all the work.
Mm-hmm.
But 20.5 is a big number. I don't hate this. Really, and a lot of this running back under stuff, especially these big numbers, comes from, well, what if he gets hurt? If he gets hurt, it's an auto win at any point in the game, basically. Like, it takes a lot for a running back to get over 20 carries.
It really does.
They have been more pass heavy, considerably more pass heavy, in games where Puka and Kupp are both in, which is obviously the case now. So if you're looking at like the overall seasonal box score line for Kyron, some of those other ones could be inflated by an offense that was, being managed differently in those games.
Yeah, and you look at some of these. I know that it's not all that we look at, but you look at some of these splits. Like the last 6 games here, the Dolphins won his 15 attempts, but that was one where they were in a dogfight the entire time. Seahawks 22 attempts, Vikings 23 attempts, Raiders 21 attempts, Packers 22 attempts, and then even then Bears 19 attempts. You were right there. 49ers 24. Like, they are just working this man.
They really are. He's gotten there quite a few times, but I wouldn't be betting on it. I think the under here is solid enough if you want to take it. Yeah.
Now, Nitish wants to know about Russell Wilson completions, and this is one that definitely caught my eye. The Russell Wilson unders, because I'm worried: is the blitz just a little too low on him, given what we have seen relative success so far for Russell Wilson with the Steelers? I don't know. Well, I'm curious for your thoughts.
I bet this one earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
I know the blitz is a little bit on an island with Russell. I know I was on a DFS show earlier today, and people were like talking about liking Russell Wilson this week. I know the Baltimore defense has been, I guess, terrible against passing attacks this year. That's one thing that tends to be more noise than people want to believe it is. Like, defenses, they're probably exploitable a little bit, but they're probably also not nearly as bad as they've performed so far this year. Defenses tend to regress pretty heavily to the mean going forward. And I don't like anything about this setup for Russell Wilson. First, I don't think he's very good. I bet the under last week, it was like under 17.5. I think he had 14 completions. He's looked good at times, but a lot of it has been deep balls, which really doesn't matter a whole lot if you're betting the completions. And he plays in the most run-heavy offense in football. They're playing against a fairly slow-paced offense that, could be chewing some clock. He doesn't really have anyone to throw to aside from Pickens. There will be some dump off to the running back, sure, but I like the under here. I bet this one earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do, and they do like to run the ball, like you said with Najee. Like, it's a tough game. I'm scared of the Russell Wilson play, but I certainly think that it's the right move.
I'm just not a believer in the talent or in that offense in general.
Yeah, and yet the Mike Tomlin voodoo magic is so real. Like, this team just they will be good no matter what happens. I love the Steelers fans that were calling to fire Mike Tomlin before the season, and they're like, "What are we doing? Why are we playing Russell Wilson over Justin Fields?" And would you look at that? They're 7-3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could manage to pull out a win. He can manage to throw for 250 yards, and it's still possible he doesn't get 20 completions. There are, again, we talk about it a lot. Like, we're never saying like, oh yeah, this is a lock. This guy, there's no chance he goes over this. It's like, no, he could. But you think about all the different paths that he could or he couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this case, there's a lot more paths that he doesn't get over.
Yeah. Now, Sports Video is asking about Derek Carr. I feel like we've already covered him pretty well.
Yeah, I like Carr overs. I bet them earlier this week. I think I took the attempts. I think that was my favorite, but we'll look at the completions here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Blitz is, 3 over the market. It's a fast-paced game. It's a dome. He's at home. They should be running a lot of plays.
Yeah.
The offense doesn't have a lot to throw to, but a lot of 20, a quarter of the targets are going to go to Kamara,
and he should catch most of them.
Passes to complete.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Carr stuff again.
How about Goff under completions this week? He certainly soared over his completions to the other team last week.
Let's take a look. Looks like the Blitz is actually maybe going to be on the over a little bit, which doesn't feel great considering that they're such huge favorites here, and we'll probably be running the ball and could be playing backups in the fourth quarter. But also, like, they project to play really well. They have, what is it, like a 30 or a 31 implied team total. Like, they're going to have to do that somehow by, they're going to have to play some good offense. So 20 completions for Goff is kind of low. I haven't bet this one. It looks like we're having some trouble with the simulator, but if you wanted to, it looks like there's probably a little bit of value on the over there.
Yeah, I think that's it's a little bit risky, but the other thing is this is the NFL. We think it's going to be a massive blowout game, and then all of a sudden they're in a dogfight.
Yeah, if it's not, then exactly.
Yeah, better for us. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. Simulator working now. We're seeing a little bit.
Not huge value, but enough if you want to take it.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
How about Amari Cooper unders?
Oh, this one I was on earlier today, and his markets have been plummeting. Let's see if we happen to catch a book hanging a bad line right now.
Mm-hmm. Dave Clark says, as a Steelers fan, I love the Tomlin voodoo. I mean, it's great to watch. I have a buddy who's a huge Steelers fan and also hates Mike Tomlin, and I'm just like, we are greatly enjoying dunking on him because he can't even enjoy the Pittsburgh Steelers winning season because we're like, you're so wrong.
Yeah, Cooper, I really wanted to bet the under on. Earlier in the day, I posted it in our group when I posted, the preliminary stuff that we're going to be looking at. I think we had like plus 105 or plus 110, and the best line now is minus 128. There's a minus 169 out there. The market has been just dropping heavily on him. Still a little value, but not enough where I'm willing to take it in what's kind of an uncertain situation. Like, they're saying he's probably going to play this week, but we don't know, is he going to, like, how healthy is he? Is he going to play a full complement of snaps? Is he going to be limited? I think it's more likely he's going to play and be a little bit limited, but also they are missing a bunch of guys. Dalton Kincaid is out this week too. So it's possible he just steps into a big role. I liked it more when I was getting a better price.
Yeah. Sports video saying Carr overs won last week. Carr yardage overs won thanks to MVS. Carr completion overs did not win.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Natish is curious. Chase Brown under rushing attempts.
This one I think was showing a little value. Chase Brown. Oh yeah, more than a little value. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't mind this one at all.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Brown is going to get the majority of the work here for Cincinnati, but they do seem to like Khalil Herbert. He's with the team an extra week now. Presumably he should be working in a little bit more. Chase Brown's workload should be going down a little bit. Plus, this actually projects, by the spread and by everything as a fairly close game. It's not like they should be running away with it. I think it's a 1 or 1.5 point spread, where they should just be running with Chase Brown the whole second half. Also, it's going to be a slow paced game. Both of these teams play really slow. So just the play volume in general is going to be down. I do like the under on this one. I hit it earlier in the week. I think I got it at 16.5 maybe.
Ooh, look at you. That's a nice one. I just hit it for the 15.5. Let's see. Good call, Natish. Taking this one. Sports video says I just took that one as well. So yeah, tip the cap there. James Rowe says Minshew under completions. We already talked about that. I took that earlier in the week.
Yeah, all the Minshew unders look good.
Yeah. ESPN sets very high lines at -145 consistently. Yes, they do. Yeah. They just. It's so devious because they do two things. ESPN. Number one, they hide the over-under numbers so that you're only seeing the at least yardage amounts. And the other thing is they purposely juice these numbers to try and discourage you from taking the unders. And it's like, it's devious, but they're clearly doing it because they're like, well, we're kicking sharp people off anyway, and anyone who's square isn't going to lay 145 on the better side here. Like, that's exactly what is going on here. Sports video says Drake May under passing yards.
Let's take a look. This is one where, let's see what it projects as first. So there's some value, but like I've said, passing yards in general, I really want to see a big number on. I was talking about it in the Discord earlier this week. I had EV Analytics run some back tests for me on the Blitz projections this year. It's actually been really good, except for passing yards market and rushing yards market have not been great for whatever reason. I mean, it could just be small sample, it just variance, whatever. But I don't need to go into all of it, but basically I prefer, I've been saying it all year. I prefer, if I'm going to bet a quarterback thing, I prefer attempts. I prefer completions. Yards are so like, they're more variant,
it's a very volatile stat.
You can hit a 50-yard pass and then, okay, all of a sudden your under looks terrible, or, there's just more going on with it. And so
I did hit this under.
What's that?
I did hit this under earlier in the week.
Did you?
Yeah.
The other thing with Drake May is that he's a rookie. He's looked pretty good so far, but rookies are generally bad. So the Blitz projection for him may be a bit conservative. Also, their offense was super run heavy with Brissett. They've actually gone pretty pass heavy with May, but it's only been a handful of games. So, if you believe that they're going to continue being that pass heavy, then the projection's low. It's kind of, splitting the difference a little bit right now. So this one just has a little bit too much uncertainty for me to actually want to bet.
Yeah. What's the modest saying? Prefer completions with Derek Carr, but Derek said F you to that last week. Yes, he did, but he hit the over. He hit the over yards. Let's see. What else do we have here? We talked about Goff passing attempts already.
Yes.
Natisha, Kyle Pitts under receiving yards.
I hit this one already. I like the receptions more, but we'll look at receiving yards.
Just for fun, let's hit that receptions market too.
Yeah. So here's the receiving yards. You can see definite value on that. Let's look at receptions. Even more value. Yeah, this is an offense that just has a lot of mouths to feed. There's London, there's Mooney, there's Pitts, there's Bijan, Ray McLeod works in. You never know where the ball's going to go on any given week necessarily. I think there's a narrative that this week it's going to be tough for London, so maybe it'll go to these other guys a little bit more. But they're also outside the dome. Passing's not going to be as efficient. They're probably going to be running a little bit more than usual. This is a run-leaning team to begin with. And Pitts, I mean, he's had games this year, but more often than not, he's kind of just been his target share is like 14 or 15%. It's nothing crazy. This one shows value. I like this one at the number they're giving us at plus 125. Looks great.
It is such a disappointment that this season has been like for Kyle Pitts and is by far his best season ever.
Is it better than his rookie year?
Didn't he do nothing his rookie year?
I thought his rookie year he did really good, and then his second year he did nothing.
I was pretty sure it was just like everybody was like Kyle Pitts, and then Arthur Smith was like, "No, we're running everything through Tyler Algier. Kyle Pitts is blocking."
I think that was his second year. His first year he had over 1,000 yards.
Oh damn. Okay. Yeah, my bad. Yep. The chat is pouring in to correct me there. I've just been Kyle Pitts burned at this point too much. Let's see. Next up, we've got Andrew Brennan asking, what about Shakir receptions? What are we feeling on Tupac this week?
Looks like the market is already set pretty high for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him this week. I think he's a great player, but the game environment's not great. We do have Amari Cooper coming back, and again, we don't know how much he's really going to play. Kincaid being out will help, but it looks like the market's kind of fair on him.
Yeah. Kincaid being out is a big deal. It's also hilarious how he like catches everything that's thrown his way. Doesn't he like lead the league in catch rate?
I think the Blitz has him projected as like the best true talent, like completion kind of guy in the league. He's really good.
Yeah, I miss the good old days of Wes Welker. He was such a good slot receiver, man.
I miss
All right,
Thomas.
Oh, Slant Boy. Everybody loves Slant Boy. He does not love Derek Carr though. That's been hilarious beef on Twitter. Jahmyr Gibbs' line on 365 is now 13.5 rushes. It is cratering on us. Derek M wants to know though, how about the Gus Bus rush attempts?
I wasn't seeing a lot. Actually, I don't know if I saw an attempts market on him. Oh, there is one. Not a lot of value here. The Blitz is in line with it. There was value on Dobbins. He's been cratering though.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some value on the 13.5 though. Again, this is another one, slow paced game. Gus Edwards should be working back in. They said this week he looks the healthiest they've seen him. Played a good amount last week. Earlier in the year when it was the two of them, it was more of a split rather than Dobbins' backfield. So I do I hit this earlier in the week. I think I hit his yards. That has just plummeted. And then earlier today, this was 14.5 across the board, which I liked, and that has continued to drop, but you can still find a little bit of value here if you're going to take an angle on Chargers running backs.
Sports videos pointing out Chargers have been sneaky pass heavy too lately.
They kind of have.
Yeah. Kamani Vidal season. It's never Kamani Vidal season.
No, it's Kamani Vidal inactive season.
Yep. Man, what a bust. I mean, fantasy bust. Jury's still out, obviously, on him for a career. I've seen a couple of Debo Rusher receiving yards.
Well, we can take a look. I have not seen much Debo stuff popping up this week.
I know I bet Debo last week. I can't remember if I won or lost it.
Not a lot of value here on the receiving.
Yeah.
The rushing, we probably can't.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, simulate. Doesn't even look like there might be any lines for him.
Yeah. I mean, the rush plus receiving yard market exists, but I don't think that we can simulate that here either. Let's see a couple more questions here. Oh, yep. Okay. We can fit two more in if we're quick. Last one from Natish here, Kenneth Walker rushing attempts.
This one showed some decent value.
Yeah.
This one I debated putting on the show. This 13.5 here. The Blitz is projecting 2 over the line. There's definitely good value on this. Game will be a little bit slower paced because San Francisco plays so slow. Mm-hmm. They'll probably be trailing against San Francisco, which isn't ideal. But they love Kenneth Walker. When he's healthy, they have been considerably more run heavy, which they said they wanted to be. Than when he was out. He gets 80% of the carries. Really, the big concern here is just is there going to be enough plays to go around? Are they going to have the opportunity to run the ball as much as they want to and not be forced into passing? But definitely some value.
Yeah, definitely there. And last one, guys. Sorry, I know we got more questions, but we got Set the Screen coming up in a few minutes, so we're going to have to bounce. But Brian Sion asked, is DeAndre Swift over-adjusted up at 69.5 rushing yards off the offensive coordinator change? His biggest number of the year, yet a 5.5-point underdog.
That's a good question. We have, what's his name? Thomas something taking over as the offensive coordinator for Chicago.
It could be me. I'm not sure.
I know I made some adjustments for it earlier in the week. I'm kind of blanking on how it sets up. I thought I remember it not setting up too differently.
Thomas Brown.
I could be wrong. Yeah. If you ask me in Discord later on, I can get you a better answer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us, but we do have to bounce out of here now. Again, really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for being here as always. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. We appreciate you guys all being in the chat here, asking your questions, being with us each and every week. Of course, you can talk to us in the Discord as well. Derek's got his own channel set up in our Discord so you can ask more questions and just generally pester him and make sure that he gets absolutely no free time to himself. Be sure to hit us up. And as always, check back in next week. We'll be right back here. Same time, same place as always. But for now, it's time for Set the Screen if you're an Unabated NBA member. If not, we wish you the best of luck this weekend. And as always, let's cash some tickets. We'll see you next time, folks.